Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and it's good to be here again on another wonderful episode 31 of Pressing Buttons. Um, Eventful week in video games last week. We got a lot of announcements from Gamescom. Everything coming in. Jeff Keighley. Why are you cracking up?
Gamescom?
Gamescom all the time.
That
They make you come. They make me come. Everybody comes.
yeah.
Are we keeping this in there?
I don't know. We got to make a judgment call on that one.
This is definitely explicit shit. But yeah, Gamescom. It happened. A lot of announcements were made. A lot of videos were shown. Really, a lot of good stuff to get hyped about, and we'll go over that in this episode in our news and other stuff. And then also, quick heads up, there will be no episode 31. I said welcome to episode 31. Last week's episode was episode 31. There will be no episode 31 video. Unfortunately, Nick was not able to get everything he needed for his PC to be able to edit the video, and I'm not too familiar with doing the video myself, so we weren't able to do it. So we're just going to scrap it. It'll just be episode 32. We'll be right back on track, episode 32. He's good to go on the video front, so you'll be able to see the video for those who like to watch the video, watch these beautiful faces and interact with them, or just see how...
Yeah, you're not missing much with the video from episode 31. It's actually even worse than what it looks like now.
Yeah, which is why we're bringing the video, because if you're watching this on video, this man is a work in progress. Look at all that shit behind him.
Yeah,
but
that was a creative choice. I think most people would try to clean up the what's behind them, and I'm like, no, I want the audience to really be feeling the journey of moving in and getting your game room set up. So
yeah, there's no green screen, there's no coverings. This is the raw footage. This is how the sausage is made, right? Is that what they say?
Some people say that.
Yeah. There you go. This is sausage being made. But yeah, so look forward to episode 32 on video on YouTube. We will be back on track. So thank you for that. And the Evo footage is also coming soon. I will get that out to you as soon as possible. Keep up to date on Discord, and you will get the notification when it is out. It should be out soon. If not, by the end of this week, beginning of next week, I will make sure it is out. That's a promise. All right.
Prove it.
I will. All right. So let's get started with video game news. First topic we're going to discuss is, like I said early in the intro, is Gamescom. Basically out in Germany, So shut up. You're such a child. Jeff Keighley hosted Opening Night Live, which was on Tuesday. A lot of trailers, a lot of announcements. We won't go over every game that they showed just because there was a lot to list. We'll just kind of go over what we liked, what we saw, and what we're looking forward to at all the games. On my end, I think I really enjoyed... There was a lot of Souls-type games that they kind of either had CGI trailer for, or they showed gameplay footage of. Those being The Lords of the Fallen, which is basically, I don't know if it's a sequel or just an updated game to the original, which was just Lords of the Fallen. It's very Souls-like. I played it on PS3. I really enjoyed it, so I'm glad that they're making a sequel or whatever it is. They only showed CGI on that, CGI video, but I'm pretty sure it's going to have the same mechanics. I'm excited for that. Also, Lies of P, which is basically like mature Pinocchio with Bloodborne stuff in there. That looks pretty interesting, looks pretty fun. Excited for that. And then Wolong Fallen Dynasty by Team Ninja, which is basically just Chinese mythology or Chinese history kind of with mythological aspects of it. Team Ninja, if you're not aware, if you're not familiar, they made Neo, also Stranger of Paradise, also Ninja Gaiden. So it looks very much in that realm. I feel like they kind of learned a lot from Stranger Paradise because it does seem to have like a execution mechanic for finishing off monsters and stuff like that. So those are three games I'm really excited about. And then I'm also excited High on Life. If you're a follower of the podcast, you know that Nick and I really like Rick and Morty. And this is a new game made by Justin Roiland Studio. It's basically sentient weapons. You got 5 different guns that you can talk to and a knife that talks to you. So that looks pretty fun. Crude humor right up my alley. So those are the ones I really enjoyed, besides the obvious like Callisto Protocol and others. Those are the ones that kind of caught my eye that I'm looking forward to. What about you? Which ones kind of piqued your interest out of all these announcements and videos?
Yeah, I think all the ones you said. I didn't play. Is it Lord of the Fallen or Lords of the Fallen or?
Well, the original is Lords of the Fallen, and then this new one is The Lords of the Fallen. Big difference.
Big difference. So I didn't play that one, but based on your intrigue in that franchise, I might keep an eye out on that. Lies of P. It's just the name is so bad, but it's an interesting concept. I mean, I think as someone who loves Soulsborne games, but could never play Bloodborne because of like the frame rate and what like it actually makes me like nauseous trying to play the game. So I desperately want that to be remade so that I can play it. But this looks like kind of like the next best thing. So it definitely looks and feels a lot like Bloodborne, but it's a mature take on Pinocchio, which is never something I thought I would be interested in. But like that sounds kind of cool. So let's see what happens. So yeah, I guess just +1 to everything you said, and I think we saw when we were making predictions around what we thought was going to happen at Gamescom, I think that more or less kind of played out where, no kind of like earth-shattering new reveals. I think we were going to learn a lot more about, existing games. I think the only actual like surprise was the Killer Clowns from Outer Space game, which I think it was just like one of those like random movies that was like always on late night TV when I was a kid. So like it's just something I watched, and at no point did I ever dream of having a game based on that movie. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, like that could be some dumb fun. So we'll see how that actually ends up shaking out. And I think at a minimum, I'm envisioning that being like a great like Game Pass title where if you and your friends all have it, like that's probably at least a night's worth of entertainment. And then if the game ends up being better than that, then great, and we can play it more. But it's from the same dev team who did the Friday the 13th game, which I never played, and I don't know if that's actually fun or not. But based on the concept of what we're seeing with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that could be some dumb fun to be had. So this is the only real surprise. And then I think we're going to talk about this later, but probably the thing I'm most excited about, which is like kind of silly, but it's actually the DualSense Edge controller. So it's like,
no, that's not silly.
Not even a game. Yeah, like I'm not like, to me that was like the coolest thing because I love controllers. I have an Elite Series 2 controller that I'm actually pretty disappointed by. So I'm kind of looking for, which I guess maybe we can talk more about why that's the case. But I'm definitely interested in what Sony has to offer in terms of like the premium controller experience. And the only reason I don't use a DualSense when I'm playing on PC is because I just don't like the analog sticks. They're just not for me, but it looks like you can swap those out pretty easily with something that you prefer. So even if it was just DualSense, but with swappable sticks, like I'd be all in. But there's a bunch of more features on top of that, so definitely excited about that.
I was going to say,
I just love the audacity.
No,
I was just going to say, I love the audacity of Sony being like, no games. Like we will show no games at Gamescom, but hey, here's Here's an update on a controller.
Well, I was going to say, I thought that your inability to use a controller on PC was because you were a PC snob and you love your mouse and keyboard too much, as opposed to having the right stick.
No. I mean, it depends on the game, right? For like Rocket League or character action game, like playing Elden Ring, I was absolutely using a controller. So it just kind of depends on the game, but
gotcha.
I'm not at that extreme where I think there are people who,
for everything,
under no circumstances, use a controller, and I'm not there. I'm more of a hybrid, I guess.
Gotcha. All right. Now, the next thing we'll talk about, still in relation to Gamescom, was just your impression of the show. I mean, I thought it was a good opening night live. In terms of games, I thought it was really jam-packed, obviously with a lot of games that we knew were coming out. Nothing really surprising, nothing world... Well, there was some world premieres, but I wouldn't consider them world premieres. Just in terms of the scale and how awesome it looked and how anticipated they were. I did find two things funny. One was the Pokemon car. So Nintendo is partnering up with Mini Cooper, and they're making a Pokemon car. So eat shit, Elon Musk. Your Cybertruck is not the future. It's the Mini Cooper, the Pokemon Mini Cooper. And then the other thing is Hideo Kojima is making a podcast. So now we're going to be rivals in the podcast space, which, sorry for you, Kojima. We already got this market.
I have a feeling he's going to be ranked higher than 80th in the podcast rankings. But yeah, and then it's exclusive on Spotify, and I spent a ton of time professionally on all things podcasts and Spotify. So actually, I think that's a pretty cool deal for the company, and I need to learn how that came about, because that's like a pretty fascinating deal. My only thing, it's like, I don't know, they saw a trailer, or I saw a trailer where so it's cool that they're basically going to publish it simultaneously in Japanese and English. I don't know if based on what I heard in the trailer, I think it's him talking, and then they have someone like kind of talking, but it's like quieter or more quiet, and then they have like the person translating him, like talking over him, and I don't. We'll see. Maybe it ends up being fine, but like I kind of don't love that. Like I don't know if I'm going to listen to that for a long time. So I don't know. Does that make sense? Like the way that they're translating it and making it into a podcast format, I just don't know. I would either just have the person translate and talking, or maybe they also do like a video version where you can just like watch the video and watch it with subtitles. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me though.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think because it is dual language, and unfortunately he doesn't fully speak the English language, it might not translate as best, especially if you just have another voice translating everything he's saying. It's going to be a much longer podcast, and it might just work best in video form. So we'll have to see, but it's good. It's good that a lot of these developers kind of are expanding themselves into the podcast market, so you can get more of an insight into their ideas and their thoughts and their creative process. So that's pretty cool. And Kojima's an innovator. He likes to do different things. So hopefully this doesn't hamper his creative process for whatever game he's kind of working on right now. So we'll see, especially with like Death Stranding just released on Game Pass, which is Sony kind of published that, right? So that was kind of weird. Yeah,
they funded Death Stranding, and it was a timed exclusive on PlayStation 4, and then I think it's actually 505 Games are the publishers for the PC version.
Gotcha.
So,
but Sony's probably getting some kind of cut. Just like Xbox, Microsoft gets probably some kind of cut for Minecraft on the other system. So
yeah. I'm sure there's something there.
All right. So that does it for our impressions on Gamescom. I will put a link on the show notes just for the video on YouTube, so you guys can check it out if you guys want to see it, if you missed it. So you guys can check out Opening Night Live and all the announcements that they made. And then moving on to our next topic, I know Nick doesn't really talk about this too much because, like I said, he doesn't play it. It's Bungie, basically. Bungie also, like we discussed last week, held their showcase on Tuesday as well. That's where they announced the next expansion, which comes out February 28th, 2023, which is called Lightfall. I think the showcase was really amazing. They had the developers in there talking about the game, talking about the future of the game and what they want out of the game, and how they're bringing people back into the game. The expansion looks great. It has a neon vibe, very 80s style, Miami Vice type look, which is wonderful. Destiny, a lot of the enemies are very dark based, so it's not a very heavy color palette. But when they do have these areas that are very colorful, I think they do a great job of showcasing it. So that looked really great. They announced a new subclass, which is called the Strand, so new ways to use your powers, really interesting stuff. And then for the future, they also announced that they're going to incorporate loadouts, which a lot of people have been clamoring for in Destiny, and also looking for groups inside the game as well, with a sort of reputation system, so you actually know who's being helpful if you're looking for group and stuff like that. A lot of stuff which I think the Destiny community itself is very hyped for, and you can tell because obviously right after they announced this, Lightfall became the second most selling game on Steam, right after the Steam Deck, of course. But all those pre-orders went up. People are still enamored with Destiny, and they'll keep buying it. And they also announced that they're not going to be sunsetting any more expansions. If you're not familiar, before when a new expansion would release, they would kind of do away with the old expansion to make space for the new one. And it also it hindered any new players because you kind of missed out of a lot on the stories and the missions and information that those expansions were bringing. So they announced that there's no more sunsetting, so any new Destiny player can we don't know if they're bringing back old stuff, but they'll basically be able to go through the Destiny story and not miss anything, which is good for new players. I know Destiny is a very hard game to get into, and if you're not playing it every season and kind of keeping up in terms of your gear and stuff like that, it really hinders your enjoyment of the game. So hopefully that brings Nick into the fold, and eventually he does play Destiny.
Nope.
We got it right there and there.
Are you gonna talk about the Fortnite crossover?
Yeah. That was the next thing.
Because to me, it's like that's the first time where you can, play as Destiny characters, but in a good shooting game. Yeah,
well, all right, calm down. Calm down. You know that Bungie is known for their gunplay.
No. I was just trolling.
So we talked about it last week, where the leaks were coming out showing Fortnite skins in Destiny and vice versa, Destiny skins in Fortnite. But they made it official. There's also Destiny skins in Fall Guys. Now, what I love about this collaboration, and I was seeing it from a lot of YouTubers, there was a lot of Destiny YouTubers that were playing Fortnite because they basically recreated Destiny PvP map inside Fortnite with the control mode that you were able to play. So that looked pretty cool. It was basically a collaboration, obviously between Epic and Bungie, and then a collaboration between streamers, because you had Destiny streamers playing with Fortnite streamers, and just kind of basically they were both getting into each other's games, and that was pretty cool. And I do want to add that the Fortnite skins in Destiny look pretty cool. I'm probably going to buy them throughout the season. I'm not paying real cash. I'm paying fake bright dust that you get in Destiny. So I wouldn't waste my money on skins. I don't do that anymore. But I think the collaboration is a pretty good one. Fortnite, like Epic, like we've said in this podcast plenty of times, they're kind of ahead of the game in terms of collaborations and skins, and just giving people what they want. And right off the heels of Dragon Ball Z, you got Destiny right on there. So at least you'll play some Destiny in Fortnite. I think you can do that at least.
I'm not buying those skins. They do look cool though, so I'll give you that for sure. They look pretty nice. Yeah. No, I'm probably gonna get the Vegeta skin. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
saving my V-Bucks for.
We got to get on some Fortnite, get some games in there, get some victory royales.
The Dragon Ball crossover ends in a couple days, I think. So I don't know if you're actually interested in that, you might want to jump on it.
Well, I mean,
it's pretty cool. Like I've been playing the, I guess maybe this is jumping to closing thoughts, but I've been playing the Fortnite Dragon Ball thing. It's fun.
Yeah, I think I'd be more interested in the skin. It's one of those things where, like, even if I don't play the game as much as I did when it first came out, I think I would want to have a skin just so when I do play it. So I'll jump in just for that at least. All right, and then moving on, next thing we want to talk about was the PS5 price hike. Sony recently announced the last couple of days that there will be a price increase in most of the major markets for the PS5. Surprisingly, the only market that will not have a price increase is the US, which is kind of weird. Usually the US isn't the one that kind of gets saved. So you'll have like Mexico, Australia, Japan, China, and the UK. They're all getting price increases. Kind of weird. You don't really see this from consoles. You definitely always see mostly a drop in price. You never see a price increase. A lot of people are kind of upset about it. You definitely don't want to pay more for something that other people are paying less of. Microsoft and Nintendo got asked for comment, and they took it as a win, and they said that they are not planning to increase any prices for anything like that. So obviously I don't know why anybody would ask them anyways. It's not like I would, unless they announced it, I didn't think that they were going to increase the price on anything. It's better for them to keep it the same way. You being kind of the financial person, the person with the numbers, any thoughts in your mind about this? Why the price increase? I know they gave their reasons, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I thought it was kind of funny because I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, we were talking about the Oculus Quest 2 price increase, and we're like, oh yeah, that never happens. That's so weird. And then weeks later, PlayStation 5 does the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like I can tell you from a finance perspective, foreign exchange rates can have like an insane impact to your profitability. So they did mention. So in addition just to inflation, global inflation and that being a thing that a lot of people are feeling right now, they did also specifically mention Forex or foreign exchange as like another driver. So I think that's why you're seeing it in specific markets as opposed to it being like one blanket increase, in every territory that they've launched the PlayStation 5. So I haven't looked at the actual numbers, but maybe there's a situation where they're able to like absorb whatever foreign exchange pressure they're feeling from the U.S. and so they're able to like not raise the price there, but in other markets maybe it's making an outsized impact, so they needed to tweak it. I also think just maybe the U.S. market, it's I think if it's not the biggest, it's like one of the biggest markets for them from like a hardware perspective, and maybe there's other like competitive pressure with Xbox being probably bigger in the U.S. than maybe some of those other markets. So, I think there's like a competitive element to it as well, where maybe, and again, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure like Xbox isn't that big in Japan, as an example. So maybe they feel good about being able to raise the price there and not worry about people wanting to like jump ship over to Xbox or anything like that. So something like that. But yeah, I think, that's all I got. It sucks. And I think I saw people, there was some article floating around about like how consumers in Japan are now like begging for a PC port of Final Fantasy 16 because it's going to be a timed exclusive to PS5, and now the console's too expensive, and so people are upset.
Well, I hope by summer of next year, when 16 is supposed to be out, it'll go back to normal prices. I do agree with you. It is kind of like a market thing. But the good thing is, well, the good or the bad thing is that there's not enough consoles out on the market to be like, oh, it's kind of crazy that there's so many consoles, but they're too expensive. So it has to do with supply and demand. So they don't have I don't think it hurts them too much just because there's not too many out there, even in the U.S. And even with that, I still think it's not a crazy price increase. I think if it was like the difference of maybe like $100, I think that's kind of crazy. But it's more of like a $50 difference. So I think it's not a big of a hit. But hopefully once the supply gets back to normal and the economy and all that gets better, they'll decrease it. I still think people are going to be buying PS5s. The train never stops. All right, and then keeping on the PlayStation 5 discussion, which Nick alluded to earlier, we're going to talk about the DualSense Edge. Like he was saying, it's basically an elite version of the DualSense controller, which I'm a big fan of. He's a big fan of. I think when the console's released, it was one of the major differentiators between the two systems. You had Xbox with like smart delivery and quick resume, and I think PlayStation 5 DualSense was a big differentiator from the two. It is one of the reasons I do enjoy the PlayStation controller more, just because of the abilities it has to basically feel everything in a game. We've experienced it with Returnal. We've experienced it with what other games? I don't know.
Astrobot.
I
think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, Astrobot.
I always get confused with Astro Boy. I don't know. There's too many Astros, but you know the game.
But yeah, we've experienced it with Returnal. We've experienced it with Astrobot. We've experienced it with Death Stranding. All those games that support the DualSense. You can definitely feel the shooting, feel the rain, feel the terrain, and all that stuff, which makes the controller one of the best controllers out on the market. I have 4 of them, as you guys know from one of the episodes. I bought one. Then I bought another color. Then I bought a different color. So I guess I'm buying a 5th controller now. But basically what they said through their announcement is that the controller is going to have custom control files. So you can kind of set it up for your personal use and then have it set up for somebody else's personal use. You'll also be able to remap the buttons and input the dead zones. So if you have any issues with like stick drift, which I know the DualSense, the original DualSense had a lot of issues with. You can also replace the stick modules, which Nick will be happy about, and you can also swap out the stick caps and the rear buttons. I think this is great. Obviously, you have other companies that do make pro-style controllers for PlayStation, like Scuff. But something coming directly from Sony, especially with the DualSense technology, I don't believe that those pro controllers from like Scuff and the other companies have that DualSense technology. So it's good that Sony's developing this, especially to kind of compete with the Elite controller. Like you said, you have it, I have it as well. The issue is, after a while, the buttons start crapping out. I still have a dead right button, which I think I need to open the controller up and move some shit around to fix it. I haven't done it yet. I'm still hesitant because I don't want to mess it up. I spent $180 on this controller, and after a couple months, it kind of crapped out, and then I never used it again. Actually, no. It took like a year, so it's out of warranty, but still, it's an issue that I didn't foresee coming, and it's, I'm disappointed that I spent so much money on this, and then just one little button mess up, and it fucks up my whole game. What about you? I know you said you are excited for this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get it. My only thing is I just bought. So this would be my third DualSense. So I'm not at your level, but 3 controllers is a lot for someone who. It's just for me. Like I never have any.
3 controllers is a lot for one person.
Yeah. So to me, it's. So I bought a second one because I wanted the Galactic Purple controller, and then I have the matching, cover for the actual console. So now it's like, do I wait until there's a purple version of the Pro, or is that ever going to happen? So what I want to avoid is the situation where I buy a white Pro controller, and then like a year later they come out with the purple ones, and then I got to buy another. So We'll see. So that's my only reservation.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
Yeah, they just know me too well. So yeah, I think that's it. And then I'll probably get it. And then one thing, like I like the build quality of the Elite. I did have a similar issue with you, which is like probably my biggest frustration is like the R buttons just get real finicky and they're like unreliable. And that happened to me actually like weeks after I got it, and I probably should have returned it, but I didn't. So I'm kind of just like stuck with it now. But also like connecting the thing to PC is like also very annoying, and I had to buy this like special wireless adapter to like actually have a stable wireless connection. So I don't know, a little bit more finicky than I would have liked. So I hope Sony can come through with something that's much better, better build quality. And I wonder if I didn't love I know like a lot of people love these controllers for the paddles, so like the paddles on the back, and I've never really gotten into those. They just don't feel right to me. But I wonder with the DualSense, maybe that'll be a better experience for me, and I'll start getting into the habit of using those. So we'll see.
Well, at the end of the PlayStation 4 life cycle, they had that attachment that you were able to buy for $10, and I think that was really popular with a lot of people. With the Elite controller, I know you can remap the buttons through the app, but for some reason, when I'm playing games on Steam, and I have mine directly plugged into with a USB cable, USB-C cable, obviously they don't work as well. They don't function. So hopefully with the PlayStation 1, there's a better functionality with both of them. And like you, I also had issues with the Bluetooth. Sometimes it wouldn't read it, or it would just take a while to connect. So it does have its issues. Hopefully the DualSense, which I'll probably end up buying anyways, maybe 3 or 4, knowing me. Hopefully it works well right off the bat, and I don't have to worry too much about it. And besides one of the controllers getting stick drift, which I was able to go to Best Buy and exchange with no issue. I haven't had any issues with any of the controllers. I love playing with them. I have one for my PC at work. I have one for my PC at home, and then I have the other 2 for the PlayStation. So I'm a fan. You could say I'm a fan. So bring them. Sony, if you want to send me free controllers, that should be like.
Well, yeah, we're basically best friends with the Sony hardware team now after EVO, right?
Yeah, they know us. We'll see you at EVO Tokyo, baby. All right, so that does it for news of the week. Like I said, pretty big week for video games. Next couple of weeks, also big week for video games. I know Tokyo Game Show's coming up, and Marvel's doing a thing with their properties and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're.
You mean Disney? You're talking about the D23, or is there a separate?
Well, yeah, the D23, but it's gonna be Marvel games because they're doing the Midnight Suns. They're doing unannounced Team Marvel game, which we don't know, might be X-Men or something like that. And whatever other Marvel games that they got cooking. Maybe Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or 4. Is it 4? Yeah, it's 4.
4, yeah.
All right.
There goes our street cred.
Well, I forget because we don't talk about 3 because it sucked, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a bit of a can of worms.
Well, it's just the aesthetic and the art for 1 and 2 were so great that when they went 3D with 3, which was understandable because at that time everybody was going 3D with Street Fighter and Tekken and all that stuff. It just it didn't make sense. If they go back to the old style, the old drawing style, like they're doing the X-Men 97 cartoons, I'm all for it because it just looks way better aesthetically. And also 2D is back in. That's what they say these days. So yeah. It's going to be a full week of more video game stuff, so please keep coming back. Keep listening to us. And then we're gonna head on into our closing thoughts. For me this week, I just finished watching Sandman. It's on Netflix, based on the comics by Neil Gaiman. Big fan of the guy. I love the way the show did in terms of storytelling, where it has a direct story arc for the whole season. But the first, I would say 4 or 5 episodes, kind of told its own separate stories. I thought it was a good show. The actors were really well. I think they did a great job. They cast everybody really well. I think Gwendolyn Christie, who was in Game of Thrones, she plays Lucifer in Sandman. I think she did a great job as well. The main guy, I don't know his name, but really does a good job as well. The CGI, the graphics, the special effects in the show, I think are amazing. I think much better than Marvel shows. So hopefully they make another season. I know it's kind of up in the air if they're gonna do it or not, even though it's really popular on Netflix, but it costs a lot to make. So hopefully they do make a second season because I think it's a great show. And then
did you read the books?
No, but I knew of them.
So,
I knew of them. I just didn't. Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious if you had if you read them and whether you think they're like.
I want to read them.
To watching the show, or if you think you can just go right in, because I'm aware of their existence as well, but I'm not. I
think you could just go right.
That familiar with it?
I think you could just go right in. From the stuff I've been reading, it does seem like they're very loyal to the comic books, and I was very intrigued. My favorite episode is like episode 6, which is I think it's episode 6. It's a standalone episode where I don't want to spoil too much, but it's basically like. They meet this guy in the 1400s, and he's like, "Oh, I want to live forever," and they give him immortality, so they meet up every 100 years, and that was like a very interesting concept because they just meet up every 100 years and have a conversation. I think that was my favorite episode, just to see like the relationship develop between the guy, the human, and Morpheus, the Sandman, and just kind of see their perspective and kind of become friends. So I think that was my favorite episode. Like I said, each episode up to like episode 5 or 6 feels like a standalone episode, and then the story arc for the season kind of wraps up in the last couple episodes. But I think it was great. So I might pick up the comics and check them out and see how that goes. And then the only other game I've been playing is Destiny Season 2. On Tuesday, right off the bat, they released Season 2, Season of Plunder, which is pirate themed. So you're doing a whole bunch of pirate shit, which is fun, The weapons are pirate themed, which is cool. And it's just, pirate stuff. Who doesn't love a pirate? And then they also released the raid King's Fall, which was a previous Destiny 1 raid, very popular raid, very fun raid with fun mechanics. They released that on Friday the 26th. My friends and I, we tried contest mode, which wasn't too hard because we knew the mechanics. It's just you're under-leveled, so it's a bit tougher. Unfortunately, we didn't do it within the 24-hour time period, so we didn't get any of the rewards. But as soon as the contest mode was over, we were able to finish the raid. It's a pretty fun raid. You wouldn't know because you don't play Destiny, but if you ever do, you'll know.
You don't know me.
But that does it for me on my closing thoughts. What about you? What you been up to? Besides trying to rearrange shit.
What I've been doing for the last 40 minutes is struggling to hold this microphone. So when I rewatch the video, I'll have to see like how increasingly more difficult it was for me to hold this thing. I was probably like wiggling around trying to keep it's pretty heavy. And what's even funnier is you can actually in the background of my video you can see the mic arm, and I'm just missing an adapter, so I actually can't so I can't use it. So the mic arm's on the floor and I'm holding the mic, and it's been a bit of a struggle, but it's fine. It's pretty consistent with how my setup is currently just kind of all over the place. I'm still waiting on all my stuff basically from the move. So the only thing that I have is all like the new things that I've bought, including this orange chair. I have a new monitor that I'm looking at right now, and I don't know, some other odds and ends. But so yeah, it's kind of more of the same from last week, where I'm just not completely set up with everything. I was able to like patch together a bit of a gaming setup. So my gaming PC is now hooked up to this current monitor, so I was able to play a little bit of Soul Hackers 2. I've been talking about that game for a few weeks as something that I'm looking forward to. I've maybe put in like 2 hours into it, so I'm still really early in the game. I don't know if you've been following the reviews at all, but it's been getting, I would say, generally like above average, like positive, like mostly positive reviews, but also like quite a bit of negative reviews as well. And so I'll just have to see, which kind of way I'm leaning. But I can totally get the criticism of the game, where I think a lot of people are kind of dunking on how simple it is. It's like, oh, it's just this, it's a dungeon crawler. The dungeons are like so basic, and there's not too much going on. And I could totally see why some people would think that's like a negative thing. But like to me, I'm like, that's fine. Like I'm totally cool with that. I don't necessarily need to have like the full blown Persona 5 or just like Persona, like social links and all this other stuff. Like I like those games, but I'm also cool to like not have that and just have like a more bare bones like dungeon crawler type thing. So yeah, the game looks really cool.
Well, I was gonna say I do feel like I think you're right. I'm in the same boat. It is two different series, but people, as soon as they hear Atlus and a new game and it's an RPG or whatever, they're gonna think Persona, so they want kind of the Persona things in a different game. But I agree with you. I think it's fine the way it is. It's its own game. It doesn't need to be Persona. They'll make a Persona 6 eventually, so leave that there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's been getting a lot of criticism because of its monetization model, where they have a base game that's $60, and then they have I think it's Digital Deluxe, which is another $10. But there's like a pretty meaningful amount of like story content that is gated to that Digital Deluxe version. And then there's a premium version that's like $90 that includes that additional story. I think it's called Lost Numbers, is the story content. And then there's a bunch of other like, more monsters and costumes and stuff like that. So,
so I
think people are, I think people are annoyed by gating, launch day meaningful story content to different tiers. So, and I get that. I was able to find, so those are like the retail prices where it's, 60, 70, 90. I was able to find the $90 version for $70 on, have you heard of the service? It's called Fanatical.
It sounds
Fanatic
familiar.
or Fanatical or something. Yeah, it's kind of like CD keys.
Yeah.
So I've used CD keys in the past. They didn't have any more keys available, so I was just like looking for other similar types of services and found this. I think it used to be called something else, but I never used it before. But my identity hasn't been stolen yet, so I think it's a legitimate business. So because I was able to get it for $70, I wasn't that upset about it. But if I had to like pay the actual retail price, I probably would have been pretty annoyed to get like all that content. So I don't know. So I think people are kind of pissed at Atlus for taking that approach to this title, and I totally get that. But I'm the type of person that's just like, well, I'm not going to like make a political statement by not buying, not buying the game. Like I'll just, it's shitty, but I don't think me not buying the game is going to cause Atlus to change. So I'll just I'll deal with it. But
yeah, we're both like that. We're like, well, this isn't going to change anything. If we knew somebody, we would tell them something, but we don't yet. So
I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man. Like I know, I'm very much like a principled individual, but when it comes to like games, I'm just like whatever. Like I just want to play it, and I'm not like one of these people that gets into like all these petitions or whatever, because I don't think I've ever seen.
Well, you know what's funny?
Really lead to any actual change.
You know what's funny? I'm actually thinking of trying to contact Capcom somehow, because I noticed that Guile, so he has 2 American flag tattoos. So one on his left arm, one on his right. In the I don't know if it's in the old games, but in the new game, his sleeves are rolled up. So the American flag on one is facing the right way, which is with the stars forward, and then on the other side, it's facing with the stars back. So like in the military, in our uniforms, we don't have it that way, because you can't have, like, the thing is you have to have the stars always going forward, because America is always going forward or something like that. I forget the full explanation of it. So like the kind of like me being in the military and kind of seeing that kind of bothered me. So I was like, I wonder if there's a way I can just send a tweet or contact them and be like, hey, this is kind of wrong in the whole military aspect of it. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be like a new quest for me.
Well, I think I've seen developers respond to that type of feedback, right? Where it's just like, I think if it's a compelling argument and it's like not that big of a
it's just a flag, so I'm pretty sure they could just like invert it and that's it.
Yeah, I was talking more about like just the fundamental way in which they're monetizing the game. I feel like they're pretty locked into that, and
gotta get that money.
So, yeah, and it's because they know their audience. Like, it's like it's the same reason you're seeing this trend of like all these collector's editions just being like. It used to be like you could get a collector's edition for, I think, like usually they were like under $100.
Yeah.
Now they're like $200 or $300, and you get like basically maybe like the statue is like a little bit bigger or something, but like it's basically the same junk that they've always been selling.
Hey, don't say junk. First of all, you've bought collectors. I've bought collectors.
I know. It's all junk, dude. I mean, I buy them. I mean, I'm part of the problem. Like I'm the idiot that's buying these things. And then most recently, it was for Shin Megami Tensei 5. I got the collector's edition for that, and I opened it up. I'm like, this is just garbage. Like all this stuff in here, this is garbage. Like, why did I?
You are definitely the problem. Stop giving Atlus so much money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, maybe that is the move. The move is just to don't buy the game right away. Wait 5 or 6 months when they reduce the price.
I'm too impatient.
No, I'm saying not for you. We've already established that we don't care. We'll be like, all right, whatever. I'll just pay the extra money. I'm saying everybody else, the bigger community, should just not spend the money right away. Give it 5 or 6 months, and then wait till the game with the extra story content that you have to pay for is like $40 or something. Yeah. All right. There you go.
There you go.
It's it.
But so a little bit of Soul Hackers 2. I think I'm gonna like it. And then my hope is that becomes a solid Steam Deck title. Like I just feel like that's going to be a great pick up and go type of game. I think basically I could see the Steam Deck basically being like the best system ever for JRPGs.
The Nintendo Switch 2.0 is what you're saying? Because I remember us saying
it's not going to have Nintendo.
I remember us saying that the Switch was going to be the best system for JRPGs when it came out.
What? No.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a podcast when it came out. Just saying.
I was going to say that was like. I mean, I think it's okay.
Right, well,
I don't think it's that good.
I don't, because you're a hater. You're a Nintendo hater.
I don't think I ever would have said that.
Oh, no, nice. I remember. I have a better.
And you have no way to prove it.
I have a better memory than you. So yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But yeah, just so that's Soul Hackers 2, and then I think this came up earlier, but I played a little bit of the Fortnite Dragon Ball crossover just because. Well, when I booted up my gaming PC, I actually had no idea if it was going to turn on. It's a small form factor, like custom water cooled loop machine, and when I drove it across the country, I was convinced that something was going to break. But it arrived safe and sound. And then when I booted up my computer, I just needed something to quickly play, just to like test things out. And I fired that up, and I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. I guess like the end. I'm not gonna have enough time to play it to like do the whole thing. But if you did do all of the quests, you basically get all of the Dragon Balls, and then if you collect all the Dragon Balls, you get Shenron as like one of the gliders, which is pretty cool. So I'm actually kind of like pissed that I won't be able to get that, but you know.
If only there was a way you could pay to play. Or pay for stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for the most part, I feel like they don't do that. I remember, like, I think I paid for the Battle Pass. This is like a while ago. I paid for the Battle Pass, but then you had to, like, do tons of stuff. And, like, the final thing that you got from the Battle Pass was Rick from Rick and Morty. And, like, I never got to it. Yeah, I never got it, and I was like pissed about it. And then I was like, oh yeah, maybe he'll just like be on the store at some point, and I'll just buy him, and then but I don't think he's been on there, or I haven't seen it. So, I think they generally hold true to these like crossover events and it being like a limited time thing, but I could be wrong on that. I think that's it. And then I was able to pull together my gaming PC. I think that was like on Thursday or Friday or something like that. So game nights on Wednesdays, I didn't have an actual gaming setup, so I just played on the Steam Deck, and I thought it worked pretty well. Like I just had I think I had Discord up on like my laptop or something, and then just played on the Steam Deck. We just played Multiverses and Rocket League. Multiverses is pretty fun. I think we'll continue playing that one. Playing that on a small screen, frankly, kind of sucks. So I'm looking forward to being able to play that on a full screen. But yeah, so the Steam Deck's great in a pinch for sure. Even if you're at home and just don't have a gaming computer, it works pretty well.
Well, now they also have Morty, so an even bigger reason to play.
Eddie Z got Morty just to spite me, so he paid big money just so that he could show it off.
I love it when people pay money just to rub it in other people's face.
It's a powerful thing.
All right, so that does it for episode 32. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.